towering over you like the giant Buddha statue that's smack dab in the middle of the Kansai region, surrounded by sacred deer. It's DIA, or Dudes in Asia. What up, Dudemaniacs? As always, this is David Hayter.
And this is David Wynn, a.k.a. Nookie Balboa.
This marks our 21st episode. You know, it's getting towards the end of February. Out here in my neck of the woods, we're having a little bit of rain, and it's getting a little chilly, but things are pretty good.
Let's see, over here in Vietnam, no rain, still it's just sunny, and kind of, I feel like it's heating up, but not too bad. Not too bad, man. How you doing, man?
Not bad, man. I'm doing all right. Still staying on the diet a little bit, but last week, I actually gained some weight. Oh, my goodness.
Wait, are you still doing intermittent fasting?
Yeah, I am. But you know what I think?
How do you feel about it? Now that you have like what, 2 weeks of doing it?
Yeah, about like three weeks. Yeah.
How do you feel about it?
I like it. You know, it makes life a little bit easier.
It's like one less decision, right?
It is, and it's like one less thing to do in the morning too. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but. My thinking is that maybe that 1 week where I didn't exercise at all and I had supposedly lost like 4 pounds, I think maybe the scale was just off at that time. You know what I mean?
Okay.
That's what I think. I'm like, because if what the scale says is true, then like from diet and exercising the last week, I gained like 4 pounds.
Good. Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I told you, like when I did my little fitness routine, like I think I weighed myself after 3 weeks, and like I put on weight, but I don't know. I could be wrong.
For sure, man. But yeah, other than that, I went to a volunteer party last week in Nagoya. I think I told you about them, Santa and Friends Nagoya. Those are the guys that do the Christmas party for the orphans once a year.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's right.
And, that's part of the reason why I volunteer in these groups. Like, I'll probably do one about volunteering later, like another episode. But it's like, one, you get to meet, like, people. You get connections, like, pretty successful people that own companies and, like, are, like, chemists and, like, engineers and stuff. Mm-hmm. 2, you can do good things for people, right? Helping out the community.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
And then 3, when you're done volunteering, you get to drink beer. So... that's why
sounds like your kind of party.
Yeah, do some good stuff and then go get drunk.
I feel good afterwards.
Yeah, man, it was good times. And then also when I was in Nagoya, I checked out Ichiran Ramen. You ever hear of that?
No.
So Ichiran Ramen is like a ramen chain, and it's pretty trippy. Like you go inside, and then there's like the what's it called? Like the vending machine for the tickets. Like to get a ramen bowl, Mm-hmm. And so you just pump money in the machine and you push the buttons, all the stuff you want. And then the way the seating works there is like, I don't know if it's just this one or all of them, but at this one that I went to in Nagoya, it's all just like little booths, like one man, like kind of like cubicles,
Mm-hmm.
And so you just go and like you find an open one and you sit down and then you put like your tickets on the counter and they hand you like a form and you fill out exactly how you want your ramen cooked. You're like, how hard do you want the noodles? How thick do you want the broth? Like, how strong do you want the broth? Like, how spicy do you want the thing they add into it? How much garlic do you want? All this other stuff, And then, like, a little guy just comes up and he takes it, and, like, you can't even see. There's just, like, a little window, like a hole, and you just see the hands take it. And then they just bring it out, and then they close the thing, and you're just, like, in your own little bubble right there,
So it's not exactly a social thing to go with your friends with, right?
Yeah, if you did, it'd be kind of strange, man. You go up and they're like, hey, what are you doing? And there's some just pressed Japanese dude who's like, fucking loud Americans.
Yeah.
But somebody's telling me that I think some of them have tables,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then also when I was in Nagoya, I went and got some new dress shoes, some brown ones.
Sorry, take a step back. How was the ramen, though?
Oh, how was the ramen? It was pretty good, man. It was quite good. Okay. I liked it. Nice. I feel like for some other restaurants might be better.
Okay.
But for, like, that one is like a chain, Mm-hmm. And, like, for a chain, it's quite good.
Okay.
Especially compared to some of the other chains I've been to. I'm just like, no, thank you.
I feel you on that. Okay.
But yeah, and then I got some new shoes. There's like one store out there that has like shoes that are like size 12 and up, that don't cost like $500, you know? Yeah. But other than that, dude, it's just crunch time at my job. Like, we always change, like, on a, in Japan, like the new kind of like fiscal year, like administrative year starts in April, you know, that's when the new school year starts.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's when a lot of people change their jobs and like a lot of things happen. So we're just getting ready for that. But yeah, other than that, man, same old
What
stuff.
did you do for Valentine's Day, bro?
Valentine's Day, what did I do? I took my girl up to the local shabu shabu spot. I think I told you about that. But yeah, man, nothing too fancy. You know, just did like the all you can eat, all you can drink, just chill and have a good time.
Nice.
Ate some chocolate. Yeah, man. How about you, Diane? How's your week last week?
Man, it's just busy, dude. That's all I can say. For Valentine's, like, I ordered some flowers from my wife, and then eventually we were too busy to go out for dinner,
Oh no.
so we just ordered in. Yeah, man, it's been a grind lately, dude. Because like my mother-in-law's helping take care of Grace right now, so she's kind of old, so she can only do so much. So when I get home after work, I'm cleaning dishes, doing laundry, like sweeping the house and whatnot. So that's like iron some clothes. I finish around like 10 or 11, clock out, wake up, and just same rotation, man, day in and day out.
Yeah,
So yeah, dude, it's just work and grinding.
Yeah, you got responsibilities.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, we're looking for help now. We're trying to find some like a part-time maid at least. They at least take off the cleaning duties from my end. So that, I mean, hopefully that will work out in the long run. But outside of that, I mean, just doing my thing, just worried about my priorities, you know.
For sure, man. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, tonight we're going to be talking about philosophy and religion in Japan and Vietnam.
Nice. So always a fun topic.
Yeah, man. Like, I don't know. We've always both kind of been into philosophy, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, because I remember like we took a couple classes over at the Long Beach City College. Go Vikings!
Yeah, you recommended a good teacher, Miss Sterling, who was a fantastic philosophy teacher.
Yeah. So like a lot of what I've learned in philosophy is pretty much from her, and then like my own studies, like reading different books and whatnot. Yeah. So what do you think, man? You want to take it first? Should I just go for it?
Let's go for it, bro.
All right. So first, I'll talk about the different religions that we have in Japan. Probably the biggest ones you'll see are like Shinto and like Buddhism. And then we also have like Christianity, is also pretty prevalent. But just like with any country, you get a little bit of everything, right? And so if you go to like big cities, they'll have like mosques, Jewish temples, all that kind of stuff. But I would just say on the whole that Japan, like as a society, is pretty like a-religious, like especially compared to the USA, where you see religion all the time, like on TV, in movies. Like in Japan, it's definitely feels more like the philosophical side of things,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can even see religious affect politics back home.
Yeah, in a major way,
Mm-hmm.
So what about Vietnam, man? Like, what are the big religions out there?
The big religions out here is Buddhism, Christianity, and then there's like the biggest one is probably like a form of Buddhism / like traditional beliefs, because this Vietnam's very big on like ancestry worship, which isn't exactly like a Buddhism, but they do incorporate some elements of Buddhism.
Okay.
So, but I think that's probably easily the biggest one. But it's like a various form of Buddhism, but still its own thing. But yeah, so that the traditional Vietnamese, Buddhism, Christianity, and you'll see the other ones kind of lying around too. Like you see some mosque around, so there's some Muslims here, and there was another form I forgot. It starts with like a C. It's like it's like a form of Taoism to a certain degree, but also
Oh,
like a
Confucianism?
Vietnamese. No, it's
No.
something else. It's like there's a local term to it, but
Oh,
I
okay.
think it's like yeah, it's probably a little bit like Taoism and Confucianism as well, but also like mixed up to it to be its own unique identity in Vietnam.
I see.
Yeah, yeah. So that's one that I'm aware of.
For sure, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, so would you say that like a lot of people in Vietnam, like do they really practice like their religion? Like do they have like ceremonies or kind of traditions, things they do on like a weekly, monthly, yearly basis?
Ooh. From my experience and with my family tree, they yeah, they very much hold like their traditional beliefs. Like for example, during Thought, they had like a separate table for offerings for like their ancestors to kind of come back to town and eat some dinner or whatever it was, So like it's those type of traditions that they still live through. They have a lot of altars in the house in Vietnam. Oh, well, especially Buddhist beliefs as well, because Christianity doesn't really have that.
Yeah.
But I don't really know too many Christians, so I can't really. That's like the gray area in my life about Christianity in Vietnam. You do notice it when like Sunday during that time. It's really 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 crowded, but I just personally don't know any Christians.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah, well, I'm sure like, Sundays will go to church, but I don't know, man, like to me, it seems like it's almost like a little dangerous, right? To be involved with the church.
It does seem that way. I mean, from just hearing stories, but just looking at how, like, because I think Vietnamese people are very religious, actually.
Mm-hmm.
They have a lot of beliefs, like they believe it, but they don't really like follow through with it. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you mean, dude.
Yeah, like they like they're superstitious as all hell about religious stuff, but they don't exactly take all the actions where like you should be doing this, you should be doing that. Like only when it's like crunch time, they really kind of like put it out there that they believe it. But yeah, how about Japan, man? I mean,
Yeah.
you said it's not really a religious society, right?
Yeah, but it's kind of weird because it's not very religious as like, in America, people are like, oh, it's a sin, you're going to hell. You know what I mean? Like you don't really hear too much about that, but then everyone just kind of does these traditions and like they really don't even realize that it's like religion. It's like this is just what you do. So
Oh wow, okay.
yeah, like
Interesting.
like if somebody has like a test coming up, they're like, I'm gonna go to this shrine and throw like 10 yen or 50 yen in there and say my prayer and hope for good luck.
Like, yeah, I guess that's very Asian because I think Vietnam's kind of the same.
Yeah.
It's like it's so like almost inbred into the culture, right? That you can't really decipher between if it's like really religious or is it like just the culture itself.
Yeah, it's kind of
because because like for example, like people when they get married out here, they kind of go to like a religious person to kind of check the date. But I think that's even more culture than it is like, oh, that's a Buddhism thing or that's a Christianity thing. Because I've seen people who are Christian who actually do the same, but it's just really ingrained in the culture. It's like if you look at it as more, from like a scientific standpoint, you can kind of say like that's more religious than it is anything else, right?
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, and then like the thing too, like when people go to the shrines out here, like there's certain like rituals, and ways you're supposed to do it. So, like at the shrine they have like that giant gate. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, they call it the Tori Gate. And so they say that's supposed to be like the path of the gods, like when they go into the shrine. And so when you see that gate, like you're actually supposed to like enter like to the side, like you're not just supposed to walk straight down the middle. Because they say that going straight down the middle is like the path the gods take, and like you ain't no god, you get off to the side.
Wow, that's cool. That's interesting.
Yeah, and then so you go through the gate, and then before you actually go up to the shrine, you're supposed to do like a little cleansing kind of thing. And so there's just like these things of water sitting there. Like I don't know if it's not like a well, but it's like a place where like spring water kind of runs, or maybe it's just fine tap water. I'm not sure. Yeah, and then there's like a little like I don't know, kind of like a scoop. And so you're supposed to pick it up and then, like, without letting the water fall back into where you got it from, like, you use your right hand and pour it on your left hand. And then you take the left hand and pour it on the right hand. And then you put the thing back in your right hand, pour some water out into your left hand, and then you can drink the water, or like you can just wash your mouth and spit it out. And then after that, like, you lift like the scoop back up and the water goes back over the scoop. So then it washes the scoop and then you put it back, and then it's like, now you're clean. Now you can go approach the shrine,
You got to make yourself holy.
Yeah. But then something else that's crazy that I heard too. And like, they basically said that, like, if you're a woman and it's your time of the month, like, do not go to the shrine, because according to like their tradition, you are not clean,
I'm pretty sure there's something like that here as well, but I forgot. I think when my wife was pregnant, we were kind of limited in those certain aspects of like going to a religious area. So I think that's a very Asian.
Oh, for sure, man.
Yeah, so I'm not sure, but I remember that. It was just, we can't go here because I'm pregnant. Like, wait, what? It's like, but what's that got to do with it? No, I'm not. It's like, I'm not quote unquote pure or something,
Yeah. It's like, I'd rather not. I don't want to discuss it. Yeah. And like, I don't know, you kind of do see like Buddhist temples out here and stuff, but I don't know anybody that's like a practicing Buddhist that's Japanese.
Yeah.
I know it's like some white dudes that are Buddhists. But the one thing that I've heard about, like, when Japanese people do something remotely like Buddhist, is basically only like funerals,
Yeah.
And it's like, usually it's when someone dies, then they hire like a Buddhist like chanter, to like say like the sutras and stuff. And then, yeah, I think kind of like you said, as far as Christianity goes, it's just people going to churches, and there's a lot of foreign people that join the churches, and they have like a lot of community events and kind of like parties and stuff, and then some even like teach English as well, so that's like a way that they get people from the community to come in. But still though, man, I think compared to like the USA, it definitely takes more like a back seat, Yeah.
Okay, so like another observation actually you noticed was people in like, well, not in Ho Chi Minh City because it's just such a massive city, but it's like, it almost feels like certain cities, like the whole city has a certain belief in a religion, like being Wa. That's like a really city that's close to Ho Chi Minh City. I think it's like 80 to 90% Christian.
Wow, crazy, man.
Yeah, but when I did my traveling, you kind of just notice it's like there's just pockets, and all of them just like live in the same area, or even they might overtake like most of like the city itself. It's actually quite amazing to witness. So, yeah, that's my experience.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts, man.
Yeah.
So there's like just a gang of churches out there and whatnot, huh?
Yeah, I mean, like you definitely notice when it's a Christian area for sure. There's just something different about it, right? I mean, obviously you'll see like the picture of Jesus and whatnot, but it's a different vibe in those kind of areas.
Okay, now let me ask you this: is it the good Roman Catholic white Jesus, or is it the sweet Vietnamese Jesus?
The Roman Catholic version for sure.
Oh my goodness! No, I'm talking mess. I remember they had that mural like in L.A. Like you could see it from the blue line. The nice Korean Jesus.
Yeah.
It's like blonde hair with like some Asian features.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Sorry, it just clicked to me as well. Is that traditional version of like the Vietnamese that I was telling you about earlier? They believe like Buddha is actually a god that they actually pray to, not exactly like the real philosophy of like Buddhism, where it's like it's all what's that word right now? It's not really a reality, this is all just like a dream, right?
Oh yeah.
But they actually like pray and like treat him as a real god that you could pray to, make offerings to, and expect miracles in return, which is like that's not Buddhism, but that's the form that they have here.
Yeah, I see.
You know?
Yeah, so you come across like any monks or any missionaries out there? Anybody try to convert you?
No, no, I don't think they're not definitely not proactive to try to convert you. You'll do see Buddhist monks around a lot around Vietnam because like, I think part of their like or to get ordained in that system is they kind of have to like trek around the city, take like a really slow pace, and have like they have an alms bowl. They kind of like request money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I noticed that for sure.
Okay, yeah, you can actually see some monks out here too. I don't see any in Yokkaichi, but maybe in the bigger cities like Nagoya, Nara, like Osaka. I think they do kind of the same thing, but maybe they don't walk around. Like they'll just post in like one spot.
Oh, these people here walk barefoot.
Yeah, like the dudes I've seen, like I don't know if it's barefoot or if they have on like some kind of socks. I don't know if they're sandals, you know.
Yeah.
And then it was interesting too. I saw one dude in Nagoya. He was like a white monk, and he was like getting money, you know. So that was very interesting to see. There's also Mormons out here, man.
Really?
Yeah. Like I bumped into a few Mormons like walking around. Or like I was walking around, you know, they roll on their bicycles.
Yeah,
you can spot.
I'm not sure, I've seen some white people here like who look like they're Mormons, but I'm just not sure if they just like dressed up for work.
Oh, you know? Yeah.
Like almost like, dude, are those really Mormons here? But I can't really tell.
Yeah, and then I think, it's kind of like back home. Like they all ride around on bikes and they have on their bicycle helmets. Mm-hmm. And I think what they do too is they go around and they're like, hey, come to this English class, you know. And then that's how they get people like interested in it, you know.
Come to English class.
Yeah,
that's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah, somebody told me like when I took a class on Japanese society, like the teacher's like, "Oh yeah, Mormonism is one of the most successful, like I said, is one of the most successful religious groups in Japan." Like I guess because, you know, like they ring somebody's doorbell and it's just like a nice young white fellow. You know what I mean? And it's just like, oh yeah, I want to talk to you. It's like, okay. And then I was surprised too, man. We got Jehovah's Witnesses out here as well.
Really?
Yeah. They come around every once in a while and they'll ring on your doorbell. I remember the first time I met one is when I was studying in Chiba like 7 years ago. And you know, I just get like the doorbell ring. It's like bing, bing. I'm just like, oh, it's a guy in a suit. I'll go talk to him. I was like, hey, what do you want? He's like, yeah, I've got some magazines here. I'm like, okay, I'll see what's up. I'm studying Japanese. I'll take a magazine. And he's like, hey, how you doing? Like, all this is in Japanese, you know? I'm just like, yeah, I'm okay. I was like, oh, you study here? I'm like, yes, I do. And he's like, hey, you want like something to read in Japanese? I was like, okay. He's like, can you read this? I'm like, yeah, not really. And they like flip it open. It's like, can you read that? I'm like, no. And then you flip it open some more. I'm like, okay. There goes some Jesus and whatnot. I think I get what's happening now. And then he showed me, and then he just pulled out a book, right? And then he flipped it to a page and he pointed. And then he pointed at it. And it said like, oh, hello, my name is like blah, blah, blah. I am a witness of Jehovah. After this, you will tell me your name, and we'll be friends. and then I was just like, I am David. And then he's like, I'm like Takahito or something. I was like, all right, see you later. Yeah, and then they just kept bugging me like for a while, and I think I just stopped answering the door. Yeah. Other than that, too, man, like, it's just funny. Like, sometimes you'll just see them standing on the street, and they almost look, like, very ominous. Like, they have a little, like, stand with a bunch of brochures, and it just says, like, Jehovah's Witness. And they just stand there, like, holding up a book, you know? And it's funny, because I walk by, and I know I stand out, and like, oh, I'm like, I want him to come talk to us. I'm just like, yeah, I'm cool. I'm going to keep on trekking. Yeah, and then I even saw him, like...
Yeah, go ahead.
Or no, I was going to say, I even saw him standing outside of, like, the party area of, like, Osaka. So that was funny. What were you going to say, though, dude?
I'd say you definitely don't see any aggressiveness in terms of pushing religion in Vietnam, for sure, though.
Yeah, right. Like
You don't see that at all.
yeah. I think they kind of have that state control over it, right?
Yeah.
For sure, dude. Yeah. Well, I don't know, man. That pretty much covers what I was gonna say. You got any questions or anything you want to add?
No, I think I'm good today, man.
All right, for sure, dude. Well, that does it for another fresh episode of Dudes in Asia. You know, philosophy and religion, they influence all types of our aspects of our lives, you know? So, whatever you choose to practice and believe in, you know, try to put good out in the world so other people can have an easier time and we'll make a better world.
Yeah, that was well said, Hitter. I can't top that.
For sure.
Well said. Anyways, this is Noogie Balboa signing out. Be sure to check out our blog at dudesinasia.blogspot.com or hit us up on Facebook at facebook.com/dudesinasia.
Yeah, man, I feel like we've been getting on the blogging game, you know, getting at least like one post a week.
Yep, we have.
So yeah, be on the lookout. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, search for @DavidHater. That's @DavidHar. Peace out.
Peace out, everyone.